Hi, good morning, everyone. So, yesterday we see that like how we can create a immediate action. And as in part of immediate action, we configured email alert, right? And we have seen how automatically can an email could be fired from the Salesforce. Now let's go with the time dependent action. And I have received certain emails onto this, and this indicates that you guys are trying for this. If anyone find any difficulty while on to this assignment, or maybe any assignment, if you ever attempt, just let me know onto your WhatsApp group. I'll try to connect, and we'll going to see that as well. So the next to this is an immediate action. The next to this is time dependent action. So before we going with this, the time dependent, there are a few things that you might revise, you might have to revise. Is the first thing, we are having in workflows, we are having three different kinds of evaluation criterias, like created, created, and every time it is edited, and created anytime it is edited, meeting subsequent criterias, or maybe something else. But out of these three conditions, out of these three different kinds of events, the time dependent action cannot be applied onto the second one, created and every time it is updated. So this is the first thing that you should have to have an understanding, that if you are going for the time dependent action, it cannot be applied for your created and every time it is edited. So this is the first thing that you should know. You cannot go with time dependent actions. And see, understand one thing. I have to check this inside the flows, but for the process builder, again the same thing. In the process builder, this action, the time dependent action, we are going to say another name for this. That would be a scheduled action. But again, in the process builder as well, in the process builder as well, if you are going with an scheduled action, you cannot go with created and updated. Created and every time it is updated. So this is something which is same in the workflows in the process builder as well. I'll right now we are discussing this with the workflows. When we jump to the next topic, that would be process builder. That time again, I'll show you that if you select this criteria, created, and every time it is edited, you cannot go for the scheduled action. You cannot go for the time dependent actions over there as well. I'm a little bit unsure about flows because I merely have not worked. I think, or maybe that is something which is possible. I'm not sure. I have to check this with the flows, but at least I'm very much sure about workflows and process builder. In both of them, there's one thing common. There are a few things which are common. There are so many things which are different. Now, for those which are common between workflows and process builder, this is one of the point that you cannot create a time dependent action. You cannot create a scheduled action when the criteria is created and every time it is edited. When the criteria is created and every time it is edited. So this is the most important thing that you should know. Now coming to the reason why this is not basic. If something is not, there must be a reason, right? And we should know that, and we are going to understand that as well. But before this, we should first of all, we're going to implement this. First of all, going to solve this, and then we'll come back to identify, like, why it is not possible. What is the reason behind this, right? Okay, so there are a few of the things, like you go with all this theoretical thing, whatever has been written. Let me start with the use case. Configure a workflow on the position object. Notify that hiring manager upon assigning a new position, right? So what is the use case? First of all, is like, you if position record is being created and this position has been assigned to an hiring manager. By the way, this seems to be a mandatory field, right? This seems to be a mandatory field, that if you wanted to create a position, this record could be saved only and only if you give it to somebody, if you allot it to an hiring manager. In a simple word, what could be like, whenever a new whenever a new position record has been created, whenever new position record has been created. All right, we have to notify the hiring manager. We have to give the acknowledgement to the hiring manager. But then this is not just simple use case. There are up to this. I mean, your question up to this is your something is your use case. Your question up is up to over here. Now there are further more things that in the point number one, notify the hiring manager immediately. I mean, as soon as the position has been assigned to him. So this would indicate me that this one is an immediate action. This one is an immediate action. Now, apart from this, I mean, as and when you create a position, all right, as and when you create a position, like there's a position, I'm creating a position, all right, I'm creating a position for example, HR manager, for maybe I don't know what, maybe like office work. Anyways, so that's a position for which we require 5 candidates. The HR email ID is something like this, right? The minimum and the maximum budgets, the values I'm giving. Today is like the opening date, and this has to be closed 31st of this month. The location is maybe Chennai. All right. The status of the position is a new position. Now this has to be assigned to somebody. This has to be assigned to somebody. All right. This has to be assigned to some. Let me take this. Let me take this as maybe like 25th, the Christmas, 25th of December. All right. And let me assign this to somebody like let me assign this to maybe Rahat Khan, right? All right. So as soon as a position record has been created, all right, immediately one email should be get delivered. So onto this email ID, we should get one email. That is the first thing. That is the first thing. Now, that is the first thing. That means you have to go with an immediate action, and inside the action, I mean, this is the response. This is the response. According to response, it should be immediate. But what is the action that you have to achieve? Email alert. The same what you did in the past example. Over here you did kind of similar thing. You send an email. You send an email upon creating a new lead. Whenever a new lead record has been created, that lead person has been notified by sending an email. All right. So this we completed in the last lecture, in the last session. Now, similar to this here as well. What you have to do whenever a position record has been created, immediately you have to acknowledge that hiring manager. You have to acknowledge hiring manager onto this particular email ID that dear hiring manager, one new position with the name called HR manager for the office work has been created. There are 5 number of vacancies, and this has been generated for the location Chennai. And this you have the minimum and the maximum budgets values are this, and this you have to complete this. You have to try to fulfill this position on and before 25th of December, right? So these are some of the information that you would require to send. And we probably, let me see that we have any corresponding email template for this. If you remember, I told when you try to send an email, you first of all should have that template. So I'll go to that classic email templates and let me see to this whether or not I'm having a new position for this one is what? This is for the candidate. No, I'm expecting something for the position. Dear hiring manager, welcome on board. This is for hiring new case, new hiring manager, new date. Yeah, we don't have any, we don't have, what is this unfile? Do we have something in unfile? I don't think so. No. Every email template, whatever I have created, I stored it this inside 208HR template. And as you can see, we don't have any corresponding email template for position object, right? So my first step would be to create a template accordingly. But let me first of all finish the question. Right now, this has been cleared. Now, as and when we create a position record, immediately you have to fire an email over there, right? That's the first thing. Now, second is something which is very interesting. All right, you fire an email immediately after creating that position record, and you give an acknowledgement, you give a notification to that HR person that, dear Rahat Khan, dear HR person, this position has been created, and it becomes your responsibility to close this position, right? Everything. Now, all right. That was on like as soon as the position was created. But see, over here we don't want that the HR person, because it may be possible that the HR person could be busy in some other task, so he or she might forgot that. So we don't want this to be get happen. So what we are doing is in the second point, the second, which is very interesting, and second is which where you are going to learn how to set up a time dependent actions, how to set up the scheduled actions, right? So the second is notify the hiring manager with some periodical reminders as well. Apart from one email that you deliver him immediately, you also would have to you also would have to give the periodical reminders. Give the periodical reminders. That means time dependent. You have to implement immediate action as well as time dependent actions. And what kinds of time dependent actions? What kinds of time dependent actions? Like 10 days before the milestone date. 10 days before the milestone date. I mean, if you set up, for example, if you set up this, what's the milestone date? It's 25th. 25th of December. If it's the milestone date. One sec. All right. So 25th of December, if this is the milestone date, then 10 days prior to this, I mean, somewhere around 15 or 16. All right, 10 days prior to milestone date, 10 days before milestone date, you have to again send an email. All right. And see, I would be taking the same, I would be taking the same, template for this. But when you would going to solve this, you can be a little creative, or you could be a little creative that time. And what you can do would be like, you can create separate templates for everything. Like 10 days prior to the milestone date, 10 days before, you have to send an email. And then 5 days before the milestone date, I mean, if your milestone date is 25th, 10 days before would be like, on 15th or maybe 16th, you would have to send an email again that mentioning this position has been allotted to you, and you are left with 15 days to close that. Then after 10 days, 5 days would be somewhere around 20 or 21. You have to send an email again mentioning the same matter. It's like, you are having 5 days more. 2 days prior to this, like on 23rd, one day prior to this, on 24th of December, zero date, I mean, on the day of itself, 25th of December. And after one day, you don't have to send. If for example, that HR manager was not being able to get the candidates for this position. I mean, she tried by taking certain interviews, but then she found that the candidates, they are not suitable. So in that case, what she can do? There's nothing into her hand, right? So what should happen one day after position milestone date? If the HR manager was not being able to close this manually, the position status is new position. If the HR manager was not being able to close it, if HR manager was not being able to close it manually, then after one day after milestone date, I mean, on 26th, 25th is your milestone date. On 26th of December, what should happen? Automatically field update action. And the position status should be changed to closed. The position status should becomes closed automatically. Position status, it was new position, but what should happen on 26th? What should happen on 26th? On 26th of December, this should become closed. All right. So there are two different types of actions apart from email alert. Sending the email is the first, and second is field update action. So with this example, you are going to learn two things: how to set up a time dependent action, the scheduled actions, and second, how to update the fields. If you remember, with the workflows, we could achieve four different actions: email alert, update a field, assign a new task, and sending of outbound messages. Right? These are the four tasks. These are the four actions, operations, what you can achieve with the workflows. Sending of email alert, you studied yesterday. With this example also, you are going to set up the same thing. The second is field update. With this example, you are going to learn that as well, field update. Third, it would be assigning a new task to a user. You're going to learn that with the next sessions in the upcoming examples. And sending of the outbound messages, I'll just explain you. We're not going to set up this, but I would going to explain you that as well. Don't worry. All right. So let's stuck to this example first of all. All right. So this is what is your use case. I hope everybody have understood this. Now let's go and solve it. So I should have one email template for this. We must have design. Let me check it out once again. New hiring manager, new case. What is this? We don't have it. Anyways, if you don't have it, let me check all of them. Yeah, hiring managers. This is about case. Oh, it is also same. Lead record. Yeah, we certainly don't have it. Let me create this new template. Because if you wanted to fire an email, you should have. So here I wanted, see, understand. I would be using same. I would be using same email template for all of them, like for immediate action, as well as for all these five email alerts. I would be using same. But here I wanted you to design separate email alert, separate templates. Like for 10 days before, for 5 days before, for 2 days before, you have to build up separate email templates for this, right? I would not going to do that. I'll just using one, I mean same for every one of them. So I'll make it available for use. It would be like new position creation notification template, right? This is what the name I'm going with. Now in the subject and every, I think I do have that. I must have that template. Let me try to see. This one. Right. Uh, I'll go with this. So, I mean, this is a new alert. Oh, I have to copy it from here. The subject would be like alert, a new position with this particular position name and with the reference ID has been assigned to you, because we are acknowledging, what we are doing. We are acknowledging our hiring manager that one new position has been allotted to you. So dear hiring manager, but position related to hiring manager. And we are having, you can see if you are having finding any difficulty with the merge fields, what you can do over here is like, you can simply go with this. You want it, I mean, just go with this. If you're finding anything difficult, if you're not understanding this merge field formats, it's pretty simple to understand. You can go with this tool, find out the position over there, find out the position, position fields and search for anything. I mean, if you wanted to get this email ID and then HR manager name, you can simply copy it, and you know how to copy and paste that, right? So you can go from that as well. You can find out the merge fields. That is not a big deal. All right, let me do that manual adjustments. So, dear hiring manager, we are having this positions, and these are the details of that. Grammarly is an excellent tool. That would keep you updated. I mean, it avoids your all spelling and grammatical mistakes. It's an excellent tool. All right. Okay, so this is that email template which I would be going to use, but I would be using the same for all of the email alerts. Actually, what you should do, I mean, what I am expecting you guys to do would be like, I'm expecting you guys to do would be like, you should create, you should just जैसे अभी मैंने बनाया है ऐसा एक आप बनाओ, right? And let's consider this would be for immediate alert. I mean, as soon as that record inside position would create, we would give, we would acknowledge, we would notify, we would send this email template. And I would be using the same for every other occurrences, but I wanted you to be, to work a little hard and then create separate email alerts, email templates, for all of these, like for 10 days prior, for 5 days before, for 2 days. You must write down something over here that inside in the subject you could mention that alert, only 10 days are left to close this position. And you could change the matter as well. Dear hiring manager, you have been allotted a position called this, and the milestone date of position is this one. So in that way, you just have 10 more days to close it. Please work fast. Something. I just wanted you to create 5 different, and including this, it would be like 6 different email templates for all this. All right. Go in that way. I would be using the same one. I obviously don't have the time for that. All right. So let's go with this setup. Let me create, go with workflows and approvals, and go with workflow rules. Yesterday, we created this rule. Now let me create one other one. It would ask you to migrate to flows, but don't do that right now. Continue in the workflows. I'm designing this for the position object. Let me select the position and the next. Rule name, I'm giving the rule name as new position creation, new position assignment notification rule, right? Let me copy the same thing into description as well. Yeah. Now, see, I have to go with created only, although, because I'm having time dependent action. If I try to go with created and every time it is edited, it clearly indicates you cannot select, you cannot go for the time dependent actions. And in our case, we obviously have time dependent actions. All these are what? These are time dependent actions, right? All right. So I would be going with created only. What is the criteria? All right. Now let's have a discussion into this. I'm opening this command. You guys could unmute yourself. All right. So whenever we create a workflow, giving at least one rule condition is mandatory. For the yesterday's example, what we selected was like, because we were trying to send an email that time. So I told you that the email ID should not equals to blank. So what we selected that time in that rule was like email ID should not equals to blank, because if it is blank, even though the rule will going to be get fired and you are going to waste one email alert, you could only have 15 email alerts in case of developer edition and 2000 in case of unlimited in a time span of 24 hours. We could send only 15 email alerts. We could have only 15 emails we could send. So we don't want it to waste that, right? We are having very less amount of resources. I cannot waste that. So that's why, we check that the leads inside that lead record, the email ID should not equals to blank. So that was the only rule I have, I have given. But giving at least one rule condition is mandatory. You cannot you cannot go for the actions. You cannot design the action unless you have one rule condition you have set up, one condition you have set up. What do you think? What do you think? Should I set up over here? Come on, just look into this interface and let me know what do you think as a condition I should check before firing this was. Yes, come on, give me the answer. Come on, give me the answer. Yes, come on, give me the answer for this. What do you think that we can check before firing an automation over here?
Hello.
Yeah,
HR email ID.
that is already mandatory. It's not possible that HR email ID, without having an HR email ID, I could save this record. That is not going to be happen.
Position status.
Position status is closed.
Yes, position status. So what the condition should I design over here? Come on, tell me that. What should be the condition? Yeah, the position status, you are right. So I'll go with position status. After that, come on, tell me. Come on, position status. After that, what? What should I select from here?
Equal to.
Equals. Okay, equals what?
Start with.
No, that not start with.
Equal.
And then out of this option.
So we are supposed to assign for new position.
Actually, it should work for open, approved, in progress as well. This should not equals to, instead of equals, the position status should not equals to on hold. If it is on hold, there is no meaning to fire the email. If the position status is not equals to recruited, if all the candidates have been recruited, again, there is no meaning to fire that email. If the status, position status, if it's not equals to closed, if it's not equals to close, because if it is closed, again, there is no meaning to fire that email. So this automation should ideally work whenever the status of position, if it is not equals to hold, not equals to recruited, and not equals to closed. If other than this, whatever the status, it should fire. If the status is new, if the status is in progress, it should fire. So this is what I wanted you guys to guess. Anyways, please go on mute yourself, everyone. All right, now, so this requires to be get checked and save and next. Save and next. Now see, this is my condition. The position status should not equals to on hold, and it should not equals to recruited, and it should not equals to close. If all of these conditions would satisfy, then and then only the automation would fire. Otherwise, it wouldn't be fired. All right. So you now, they ask this in interview sometimes that on a single workflow rule, can you go for both the immediate as well as time dependent action? To answer this, the answer is yes. Yes, we can design both immediate as well as time dependent. And this example would show you the same thing, the exact thing you are going to see over here as well. I would be designing an immediate action as well as time dependent actions, as well as time dependent. As in part of immediate, what I want, email alert. What I want, email alert. Let me give the name as immediate. this one. New position creation notification alert, immediate. The email template, what I'm selecting. And for every alert, I would be selecting the same, but here I wanted you to have separate different templates. I would be taking this every time. New position creation notification template. From the list of all these users, I wanted to have email. Let me select email only, email field. And again, I wanted you guys to give me 5 email IDs. Yeah, 5 email IDs, please, onto chat. That's it. Please stop. Thank you so much. All right, let me copy this and I could paste it somewhere like this. Then save and new. No, I'll go with save. All right, see, so immediate action just now I have designed. I mean, as soon as a position with all these conditions would match, as soon as a position is created with all these conditions, I mean, if the status would not equals to hold, on hold, not equals to recruited, and not equals to closed, if the position would created, immediately one email is going to be get fired to the particular email ID what is mentioned inside the position as an HR email ID, and along with all those 5 people, those who have mentioned this, right? Now that was my immediate alert. That was my immediate alert. Now the next to this is time dependent. Next to this is time dependent. But we're going to talk this by tomorrow, because there are a few more discussions I wanted to have before actually going to set up with the time dependent. Up to this, we did it yesterday. We did it by today as well. So this is how you can add the actions in immediate category. Then how to add the actions in time dependent. See, here you have this button, add workflow action. So that's how you add the action. What do you add? You add email alert. You could add new tasks. You could add field update. You could even add outbound. How many immediate actions you could add over here? 40. You added 1, 39 more left. You could add any one of them, but maximum you could add 40 immediate actions you could have. But where is that button? Do you see this button over here as well? Do you see it? No, there's a separate button called add time trigger. What is this time trigger? How to add the actions? I also wanted to have email alerts, but in the time dependent category. I wanted to have 10 days before email alert, 5 days before an email alert, 2 days before, 1 day before, 0 day. And 1 day after, I wanted to update a field. Field update action I wanted. For everything, whatever I wanted to design, I must have this button over here. Where is that button? It's not over. So why it's not over in everything? We would going to have a discussion onto this. And there are a few more things which I wanted to describe. That is not going to be happen in this short span of time. So let's split this example into 2 days. Today, we understood so many things and we have reached this. We have reached this up to immediate. Yesterday, sorry, not yesterday. Tomorrow is what? Friday. Oh, definitely we have one more day in week. Tomorrow, I would continue this example from this point. We would first of all would understand a lot many things about this time dependent actions and everything, and then we will finalize this. Right? Let's stop this from here. It's right now. Yeah, I'm giving you this command, and now you can unmute yourself if you wanted to ask anything. Yes. And guys, one thing. I mean, just a small thing, not a big. See, whenever try to adapt one thing, and please don't take this otherwise, right? Whenever I teach you something, I teach you from my experiences. Whenever I say you something, I say it from my own experiences, what I have seen. Whenever whenever we attend a meeting, and because now we are living in a virtual world, you would also going to become a part of this very soon. Whenever you attend a meeting, right? So there's a culture over there. Why I ask you to unmute whenever if I say that, please answer me this. And whenever I always say that, try to avoid typing onto chat, right? And I always say that, please unmute yourself, right? Whenever like right now, I give you this command, and I make this command and I ask you to unmute. Whenever you are asking something, please unmute yourself. The first thing is like, I wanted you to become confident while speaking. All right. I would not mind if you ask me in Hindi. That's not an issue. But try to always speak in English. And don't think my English is not that much of what you feel that you don't have the fluency. No, don't think like that. Don't think like. See, I also have this fear when I joined IT, because I was into a different profession. I was teaching in college. ठीक है, वहां पर that time, because it was more important to describe and make your student understand something. So I cannot use pure English that time. When I was in school, in my school, it was compulsory to speak always in English. So that's how I develop all these vocals. But when I start my teaching career, so that time it was not possible, because my students, they merely don't understand me. So somehow gradually, but then I stopped talking English every time. It was all Hindi. I don't know Marathi. When I speak, everybody laugh. But then, somehow I lost that control. I lost that control over my English. And when I come back to, I started as an IT profession in 2006. For 3 years, I worked. I come back to Nagpur. I switched to education domain. I started doing teaching. And then once again, I switched back to the IT, because that was my ultimate goal to achieve. But then when I come back, when I may come back to the IT, I myself has realized that I lost everything. I simply lost. I just have not lost my career. I have lost my command on everything, all because I was not practicing this. And it takes time. It takes me a lot of time to get this fluency back. I was not able to think. When you spoke something, you first create a sentence into your mind. I lost that completely. And kaisa hai na ki it takes a lots of time. So see, you right now, you are in a learning phase. You are having like 3 to 6 months, and you could practice for this. You could practice for this. So this is the right time if you wanted to improve. And please don't think that somebody would laugh, and no, 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 no. You are responsible for your own development and your failures. Whatever you do, right, you are responsible for that. If you train yourself right now, this would be a better. If you don't train yourself, just thinking to this, that somebody would laugh at me. It is your failure, not his. So whenever you speak, try to speak in English. Try to always speak in English. Whenever you write something into your group, I have seen so many things is going on your WhatsApp group. People used to type there, you are typing in English, but you are typing this Hindi into English. You are typing mere se ye nahi ho raha, mere, mere se, se. If you are typing there in English, why you are typing this like this? Like, try to always be in English, whether you are typing something, you are writing a message, or you are speaking something. This is very important to understand. If you are becoming an IT professional, this is very important. It would help you to boost your careers. It would help you during your client communications. And this is the first and important thing. Second, if you speak something in a meeting, if for example, if we have a terminology called as CAB meeting, change advisory board bolte hain usko. So this CAB meeting, I work for, let me stop recording 1 second.